And then for the next one, because I want to talk about this one. So, what are the Rise of Lilith books about, and what did you focus on most when it came to the characters and their development through those books?
So, like I said, so that's my contemporary fantasy. And this was my like mental break during COVID. And it actually started because I was watching YouTube videos on different myths and legends. And I came across one about Lilith. And I'm talking about the original pre-biblical Lilith, from Kabbalistic Judaism, stories. And I was kind of just captivated by this idea of this woman who was the first wife of Adam, who was his equal, had been created by God equally, not out of Adam's rib, but equally in the creation story. And then wanted to be her own self, and Adam wasn't happy about that, so she left. And these angels came after her and tried to get her to come back. And she wasn't having any of it. She's like, no, I am an independent person. I'm going to go off on my own. And so I rewrote that origin story for my world and kind of did it in a way to like say, okay, so if that was true, if there's this woman out there who was the first wife of Adam and who had children at some point, what would that look like? You would actually have two sort of separate lines of humanity. And so from that came the descendants of Lilith, the daughters of Lilith. And so as I was developing this world, I really wanted it to be, I like portal fantasy. I like leaving the ordinary and going into the extraordinary, and traveling between different realms or different universes. And so for her, that origin story was true, then the gods were real. And what were the gods? And I say God with little g, not big G, right? So, how were they developed? What was their origin story? And in my world, it was they developed based on the worship of man. So meaning if a human said, hey, you're the sun god, this is the sun god, and then that they would become the sun god, and that would change them throughout history. So I took a lot of inspiration from the crossovers between pantheons. So Norse mythology has a lot of similarities to Greek mythology, has a lot of similarities to Egyptian mythology. There's a lot of connections that can be made there. So my theory was that, well, maybe they're the same gods, they've just been changed by the different cultures and the different time periods and sort of that kind of a thing. And so I really thought that for these characters, it's all about change. And again, how the different interactions with different people and different situations can alter your perception. So for this book, Lil is, like I said, a bartender in Laguna Beach who can see these spiritual influences on humanity. Now, in my world, the gods are separated. They can't directly go to Earth, not like the Iron Druid Chronicles, Kevin Hearn, if you've read that.
Yeah.
In his world, the gods actually can visit Earth. In my world, that's not true. They're separated, but these descendants of Lilith have the ability to see their influence on people. So they can kind of send these like minions sort of things. They're not necessarily gods or spirits, but they're kind of messengers, I guess. And so she can see that, and she has the ability to travel to that realm of the gods and actually talk to the gods directly through that realm. So that's where the portal aspect of it comes in.